Howdy, I'm Julia.
And I'm Olivia.
And welcome back to the Drive-In. This is Silver Screeners. Please enjoy the show and subscribe.
Fantastic Four First Steps. We watched it. We're here to review it. I kind of did want to give like a little bit of a background on the movie before we go into it. You know, this movie has been in development for a very long time. And also just to give like, this is how long we've been waiting for this. So Fantastic Four First Steps went through a lot to get in. This movie had like a different director at first and everything. But basically it was announced in like 2019 and it was going to be like, they were like, oh, it's going to be in the MCU. It's going to be a Fantastic Four movie, whatever. I have a vivid memory of it being a live stream for some reason of Kevin Feige in front of that hall of like, or that wall of screens.
You could literally say that he announced some random Marvel thing and I would believe you.
I'm sitting and I have like a vivid memory of sitting at my like parents' kitchen table watching this live stream, and like when he said Fantastic Four, I was like freaking out, trying not to like concern my parents by being loud. It was then announced that John Watts, who directed the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, would be directing, and then he dropped out because I think he had like a tough experience on the third Spider-Man movie because of like COVID regulations and stuff. Then at San Diego Comic-Con, with no director attached, Kevin Feige was like, well, time to say that we're set to release this on November 8th, 2024. Which did not happen. It was correct that this is the first movie that is post Phase 5. So this is the first Phase 6. Matt Shakman was in talks to direct. He directed WandaVision. And apparently they chose him after he pitched a family-forward film post-origin story, and apparently he also showed a picture of his newborn daughter while negotiating, and I guess they liked that.
Good for him.
Did like Family Man, making a family movie. Like, I guess like that was what the connection was. And then he was announced as a director at D23 in 2023. And then the movie was pushed back to February 14th, 2025. Didn't happen again because another movie came out that day. And then the SAG-AFTRA strikes and the writer strikes happened, and then it was pushed to May 2nd, 2025. And then another movie came out that day. They actually switched Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four on the slate. And then we had a podcast where we talked about the casting. On Valentine's Day in 2024, the cast was confirmed to be Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Evan Moss Backrack as the Thing. And we talked about it extensively in a podcast episode.
Flashback.
Truly. Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about Joseph Quinn because he's been a running, like, I don't want to say joke. I don't want to say joke because he's not like a joke. It's just like he's been a bit for us for a long time, ever since an unreleased episode of our podcast where we covered the Oscars and he was kept being a jump scare at the Oscars. But so yeah, so we talked about it for like half a podcast episode. And I think we said we were positive. I think we said that we liked the casting and everything. And we also talked about how people were mad about a female Silver Surfer, even though she's in the comics. And you could make the argument that she's not the Silver Surfer, but I don't care. As a comic fan, I don't care. But that is sort of the origin story of Fantastic Four First Steps, how it came to be, how long we've been waiting, and I can't wait to do this when Blade comes out.
If you don't say that, you just
Oh,
jinxed it.
I'll
We're not.
knock on wood. I just knocked because. Shall we get on with the non-spoiler part of the review for Fantastic Four First Steps?
I think mostly it was that it was almost there. Like, it wasn't bad,
No.
but there was still needed, like, I believe people have talked about this already, but there's a lot of clips in the trailers that aren't in the movie, and I think some of those clips could have helped with some of that.
I think it could have been a little longer. And you will never catch me saying that for a superhero movie ever again.
I saw a comment on a YouTube review of Fantastic Four, and someone was like, I would want 20 more minutes of the Superman movie just because I want 20 more minutes of it, but Fantastic Four First Steps needs 20 minutes more. And I 100% agree with that. But overall, production design, the style of the film, it just works within the Fantastic Four world and the storyline of like, here's this kind of perfect world where like, yes, there's villains, but there's also superheroes to help, and then this kind of crashing down of it. It didn't feel the disconnect from the documentary style intro.
I think what I mean by that is that I didn't feel like I was a part of the family. I instead felt I was like a civilian within the world watching from the outside. Okay. And that is kind of a dislike, like a knock against it. The reason why is because I feel like if you're doing a Fantastic Four movie, I want to feel like I'm part of the family instead of feeling like I'm an outsider, like a civilian of the. I think it works in some parts because there's some moments where we're seeing stuff from like the civilians within the world where I'm like, oh yeah, like I like seeing this from like the public's perspective. But then there's some moments where I'm like, I wish that I felt a little more connected to the family dynamic and stuff here.
I liked that the documentary style, because like I like that it's kind of seen in this way of like here's this legend and like kind of like putting ourselves in the civilians. But I agree with you where I think they needed to have like a sudden turning point where they stopped with the documentary stuff to kind of like so like you're watching it as a kind of what you were saying, like we're watching this as civilians, but then it cuts to like, I think a perfect thing, I think they did it, I don't remember the order, but like they go from the documentary to like a personal scene between Reed and Sue, and I was like, oh, that's a great thing to like kind of like, here's the public persona, and then here's them as a family. But then I think they continue the documentary, and I just
they do it weird. Like whenever we see them going up into space and stuff in the movie. This isn't spoiler stuff, by the way. We're gonna like actually get in depth with things later. We see from like the public's perspective an awful lot, and that's fun. But I feel like they were trying to do both and can't. Like it feels awkward trying to do both. And I think that was what the disconnect was for me. Knock the movie. I give the movie 4 out of 5 stars. So it didn't like knock it like to the point to where I hated the movie or anything. I liked this movie a lot. It was just no, but yeah, I think that's what the disconnect came from. And it obviously didn't knock the movie for me since I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but it did just like, I don't know, it made me feel weird sometimes because then we would cut to an intimate scene, but I didn't feel like super like connected. I was definitely invested, but I kind of felt invested in the way that the public was invested in the movie, you know? Yeah. I also said that it wasted no time. We jumped right in, and I loved that. There's some superhero stories where I am like, I don't need to see your origin story again. And I think Marvel really got it right whenever they decided to do that with Spider-Man. I enjoyed that so much. because I don't need to see all of that. Like, yeah, and I like that this one, because this is another story where I feel like even if you don't know the Fantastic Four, you know they went up into space and something happened to give them powers. We don't need to see it again. And I
And
like
then
that we just kind of just boom, 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 you got it, we're done. Yeah.
yeah, and it's also like the way that they tell it is not like to your face. Like obviously in those stories they do kind of mention the things, the origin stories that happen.
Yeah.
They're mentioned so that you can see how the characters have overcome or reacted to it or haven't, which
Yeah.
I think is interesting for when you have to decide to take out an origin story, even if everyone knows it. Like, how are you going to, like, obviously, you have Ben Grimm who's been transformed, like, physically. How are you going to present that when you don't really have any, like past and present?
Thoughts on how they handled him, but we'll get there.
Me too.
That, you know, as a Fantastic Four fan, I was very happy with seeing these characters that I already care about deeply being adapted so well. But I am seeing a lot of like general audience people being like, I felt like there wasn't a lot of character arcs and stuff happening. And I'm like, definitely. I think that this movie, though, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it was definitely for like comic book fans. And I don't want to knock it for that, because it is like cute. It's like a nice tribute. And I was nerding out, very happy the whole time that I was watching the movie. But, you know, somebody who doesn't know that stuff, I went with like a group, and one of the people in the group was like, I I just felt like it wasn't like up to par with what I would have wanted, but I'm seeing a lot of comic book fans love it. And I'm like, well, I can't say that that's bad, because I'm very happy for them. It's just that there was stuff missing for me as somebody who doesn't know stuff. So,
I think all the actors with what they're given
oh, so
is
good.
really good for majority of the characters, like for what they're specifically given.
Oh, all the actors knocked it out of the park. It was just there were some things with some characters.
Yeah, and I know that we've talked about this. You didn't love it as much as Thunderbolts, which I agree with. And even though Thunderbolts, there are some characters that definitely need some building of arcs. Like there's dynamics specifically in Fantastic Four that I can see, but you don't really see those dynamics interacting with each other where all of them are together.
The whispers. It's like, I know that this is the dynamic. I wish that I could see that it's the dynamic. It almost feels like, because we didn't get an origin story, which I just said was good, but it almost feels like I'm missing something. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff in between that, like, of course, me as like somebody who knows them, I'm just like, yes, I know all of these dynamics, and I feel like I've been dropped in, and I'm set with all the knowledge. But somebody who doesn't, or hasn't seen the other movies, or hasn't read the comics or whatever, is probably like, well, I know this is the dynamic, but I don't know why this is the dynamic.
And also, in addition, those interpersonal relationships are only happening to the two people in that certain relationship, rather throughout the entire group for majority of the scenes. Like there's some scenes where it's all four of them, and I think it does work. I just think some of those scenes need to be a little longer.
And then, in my opinion, I thought that Johnny and Sue were standouts. I thought that the adaptation of Sue was just perfect. This was what I have been wanting. I love Sue Storm, so this is just what I've been wanting forever. And I'm so happy that we did that. I think I read somewhere that the director, Matt, was like, our first priority was casting Sue Storm, because she's like the main pillar of this movie. And she is, as she should be.
Is.
That was smart. I think that was so smart, and it was really good. I think they handled her stuff like so well. If you don't want spoilers, then you need to get stepping, because we're about to literally explain this entire movie. Go watch the movie. just
that,
go
that
watch
too,
it.
yes.
Just go to the theater and watch the movie.
It's fun. It's a fun
it is
theater
fun.
experience.
You will not. I don't think it will disappoint you. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't seen anybody outright dislike it, and then come back and watch our spoiler version.
Exactly.
All right, that was your warning. So
don't yell at us in the comments. Bye.
Okay, we're in spoiler territory now. So we opened on the world celebrating the 4th anniversary of the Fantastic Four. They explain the origin story of how they went up into space, were exposed to cosmic rays during a mission. They came back with powers. Reed has stretchy powers. Sue has invisibility and force fields. Johnny has flame powers. And Ben has been turned into a rock monster. It's basically like he's got impenetrable skin because it's rocks. And they're like famous scientists, diplomats, superheroes, astronauts. And Reed and Sue reveal that they are expecting, and everyone questions whether the child will also have superpowers. Documentary style, like intro, like we said before. And I'm thinking, like I said before, maybe that's why it felt a little weird. But yeah, I don't know. I liked it. Like, as like a standalone sort of scene. I did like it. It's fun. There was a lot of like comic book references within that like montage that I was literally pointing to the screen. And it's a great bit of world building, like you were saying. It does like make you feel like, okay, and now we're here and I know how this world works. The first villain that they fought in the comics was in there. I was happy to see Mole Man. We'll get to him later. It's funny what I just thought about though is that the perfect Fantastic Four movie is not Fantastic Four.
It's The Incredibles.
It's The Incredibles. It's a perfect read, Sue. Man, they are so cute, this movie.
Yeah, their chemistry is really good. And then also in addition, like, I just love that first scene. Because it's so casual. Like, it's nothing like I think Reed does use his powers at some point to like reach for something, which I think that's like cool that it's just like a normal thing in their lives.
It didn't gross me out. It's a feat. Because if you have seen our Fantastic Four reactions, then you would know that we do not like to see Reed use his stretchy powers. They were also so real. There were lots of moments that we'll get to where it was like, I feel like I'm intruding on something I shouldn't be watching. Like in a good way.
Yeah.
Accurate Johnny. Oh, we did it. Not Chris Evans, because he did great with what he was given. Like, he did amazing with what he was given. And that Johnny is good. But it's not Johnny. It's just not Johnny. Having Johnny be just like a lover boy rather than like a womanizer. Yeah, I also said that I wish they fleshed out Ben's struggles a lot more. He was definitely a weak point in the movie. And we love Ben. So
and like the cool thing is that he's not getting harassed in this version. Like,
that's
kids
true.
love him, but
They
that would be
him.
Also so interesting also because everyone else is fine with him, but is he okay with himself?
Time with him. Like ever. Like we see the one scene of him outside of the like TV. It's him as his old self, and then the TV turns off and he sees himself as the Thing. And okay, I wish that we touched a little more on that, but we don't really get to like at all. We get one scene with him and Reed later where Reed feels guilty about what happened. And I wish that we got more of that. And I'm also one of those people who's like, we're probably gonna get another Fantastic Four movie. So there's room.
Natasha Lyonne jump scared me.
Oh yeah.
In a good way.
Rachel.
Yeah. I was just jump scared by her.
I knew she was in this movie, but I was a little disappointed. Not utilized. And I feel like maybe they had a Big Ben storyline that they cut. That's what her presence is making me think that there was a lot more Ben and they cut a lot of it out.
But he goes to a synagogue and meets up
it's at
with
the
her.
end. Yeah.
Oh, it's at the and which, by the way, Marvel hasn't done a great job with them like keeping Jewish identities in their films. So seeing this, like, at least being a little Easter egg for Ben's character and showing that is really good. And also, in addition, I was waiting because she says to him, "Are you looking for some spiritual guidance?" And I was like, all right, he's going to talk about his feelings about himself, and that's going to grow them together. And then it cuts to something else. And I'm like,
yeah,
what was
I
the point?
know. There's something, it just felt like there was stuff that was there that they just cut. I like that Sue is very clearly like the face of the Fantastic Four and the Future Foundation. I don't like that like people say it would be Reed, because no, it wouldn't. So anxiety riddled. Yeah,
Like,
100%
literally,
would not.
like, there's a scene in the movie that completely supports that he would not.
No, and we'll get there. But like, needs to be Sue. She's a good public speaker. She's good at getting like through to people, and I think it's lovely that she like speaks to people with like so much empathy and understanding, because I think like if you are a superhero, then that is kind of what you need. That's why Captain America was talking during like the Avengers era. It's because he was the one who needed to talk, and she's the one who needs to be like the face and needs to talk. I think this happens later, but the Latveria leader is missing.
No, it is in the opening, because I remember thinking, yeah.
Okay, yeah. The Latveria leader is missing, and I did not expect Doom to be from this universe. I don't know if that was just a me thought or something. I didn't expect for him to be from this universe. I actually expected him to be from another universe coming to this universe. I kind of wish that was the credit scene. The Surfer comes to announce that Earth has been marked for death by Galactus. And Johnny follows Silver Surfer up to space, and he reaches her board, and she talks to him in some foreign language before throwing him off of her board and surfing away at the speed of light. The gang do research to discover that other planets are disappearing, and they decide to go after Galactus themselves. Julia Garner's so cool.
I kept
so
being like,
cool. And she was another standout for me in this movie, honestly.
yeah.
Like her presence was just like, oh my gosh. So cool. Man. I really just like the Silver Surfer also. I was like a villain. So, yeah. Oh yeah, I did say I herald his beginning. I herald your end. I herald Galactus. Literally, I was mouthing it in the theater. I was so happy that nobody else was seeing me mouth it, because that was embarrassing. Yeah, and then Johnny just catching feelings on sight. He was just like, we locked eyes that there was something. And she's married.
And then also he says, I also saw myself in her reply. And I'm just like, okay.
People were being like, who have or who are autistic, people were saying that Reed is very autistic coded. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
No, and that's why
that is exactly who Reed needs to be. Yeah.
But I'm so glad that it's like in a respectful way also, because, you know, there's a lot of autistic coded characters where you're like, this feels like kind of
it's just who he is. It's not a part, like a big like plot point that needs to be like explored like crazy or anything like that, or something that needs to be like at the forefront. It is just who he is. And Sue going into space while pregnant. Okay, here's the thing. I know they need her, and I know that she's like, you know, important to the team and everything. And I would get it if she was less pregnant. But she is so very pregnant when they go to space. And they go to space for like a long time. Like, it takes months. I think even if Galactus inducing her didn't happen, anything could happen up in space. They could have to spend an extended amount of time up there, whatever. Crazy.
Also, be insane if that is where it's revealed that she's pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Franklin being born in space, though, needed to happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think maybe, like, okay, this is gonna be a really bad example. The movie Into the Woods, the whole point is that Act 1 and Act 2 are, like, months later. Movie is a movie, and they want people to, like, to be there. They, like, speed up the pregnancy of the baker's wife, like, instantly when the potion's made. They speed it up.
Yeah.
So you just see Emily Blunt suddenly become pregnant, like 8 months pregnant. So maybe they could have done something like that, maybe to, like,
Maybe
for him.
But I don't think Galactus can do that, but Franklin himself can. Because in the comics, he has aged himself up before. So, after tracking down the Silver Surfer's energy signature to a planet in the act of being destroyed and consumed by Galactus. Oh my gosh, I got so many Interstellar vibes from all the space stuff.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about
Besides
Interstellar.
there being noise in space, which doesn't happen, I was getting Interstellar. If you silenced what was happening in the space stuff and you showed me, I'd be like, am I watching Interstellar or Fantastic Four right now? But the Fantastic Four are captured by Galactus. Galactus tells the Fantastic Four that he has a hunger that cannot be satisfied, consume planets for eons, and Galactus can see that Reed and Sue's unborn baby is extremely powerful and would be able to take on his hunger for him, which would free Galactus. He then offers Earth's safety in exchange for the baby and induces Sue on the spot. I was shocked. I was like, the team declines and makes like a mad dash for the ship. A simultaneous chase / birth ensues, and Sue has the baby on the ship. And they make it back to Earth 1 month later. Franklin spent 1 month, his first month alive in space. Said this before, but I like how involved the public is with the Fantastic Four. I don't like that we were in their shoes, but I do like that in the movie they were very involved. I think there's a lot of commentary within the Fantastic Four about the lives of public figures and how nothing is private and like that kind of stuff. I love Sue's little maternity dress for space. It is so cute. It's so cute. It's like a little suit, and then she's got like a little dress. Like, it's so cute. She was serving the whole movie.
Oh,
every outfit. I was like, yeah, yes. Galactus looks great.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I look shocked because I'm not one of those people who's like, bad CGI ruins the movie for me, but like when it's really good, I definitely notice. And it was good. Also, Ralph Ineson was Galactus, and I was in an IMAX theater. His voice was like shaking my seats.
That's amazing.
Sue is scary.
Yes.
Johnny Killer. And he was basically like, yes, man.
He's like, crushes aside, I'm standing there for my sister. If this was the Chris Evans version, he'd be like, no.
He'd be like,
I'm gonna
but she's hot.
Yeah, you know how people for a while for Thunderbolts were editing Florence Pugh saying like, we own you now, to start off like that. They need to do
edits,
that.
We need Johnny Killer edits
now
as an intro for yes. Yeah, Silver Surfer's hand going into Sue's belly made me like yeah. Plan there. What was it?
Like, were they gonna do like a Twilight situation where
the baby out of her belly? She's still connected to the baby. There is an umbilical cord. So it's not like she could have been like, give me the baby and then go. Read Sue during the birth.
That That entire scene was so good.
They were so cute. Also, this is why I wanted more Ben. Ben and Sue are so sweet to each other. They're so sweet to each other. Because Ben was the first one to hold Franklin, right?
Yeah, he's the one that cuts the umbilical cord.
Oh, man. Justice for Ben.
Justice for Ben.
Okay. Silver Surfer surfing.
So cool.
During that scene. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
The Fantastic Four have a press conference. Yeah. Where Reed explains that they didn't stop Galactus and that they had a choice, their child, Franklin, or Earth, and they chose Franklin. And the public is angry with this decision. Johnny tries to decipher the Silver Surfer's language by translating space transmissions from planets she visited before that Reed gathered. Sorry, I worded that real weird. I was saying that Reed gathered transmissions before and Johnny is deciphering them. As public tensions rise, Sue goes to have the public meet Franklin and tells them that she won't sacrifice her baby or Earth. They'll find a way. Reed comes up with a plan to take the teleportation device that he's been working on to create giant versions to place around the world to move Earth to another solar system. Explaining it out loud is so stupid. And then they rally the Earth's nations together to pull this off. This is how you know it's in a different universe, because our world never would have agreed to work together to do something, even if it was to ensure the safety of the planet. So
yeah, I've seen people complain about this where they're like, oh, this would never happen in real life. And I'm like, yeah, because it's an alternate universe.
828. We are not on that Earth.
And also, in addition, the way that they kind of make this Fantastic Four world is that it's not a utopia, but essentially things are going to work out.
They explain in the beginning that Sue basically cracked world peace.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah. Oh yeah, I thought that this was the best bit of acting was from Pedro in the whole movie. Not in general, but I just thought from Pedro in this scene was him during the press conference. He did so many little things that made me feel anxious. And I don't know if it's just because I have anxiety that I'm like, oh God, I was feeling exactly what he was feeling based on his body language and his facial expressions and stuff. And I'm like, this is why he doesn't do speech.
It's his body language and also the amount of time he waits to say stuff.
Yeah.
This was the scene where people were complaining. They're like, oh, they just did that so the plot can happen. I'm like, have you been watching the same movie I have? Because number one, have you met Reed Richards?
Always honest and straightforward and very this is what we're doing. This is what happens.
Yeah, and if anything, they force it on him. Because like you said in the beginning, Sue's the one who talks, but she's
literally holding the baby who is public enemy number 1 right now. Exactly. I loved them showing Johnny's intelligence. I feel like they didn't show that at all in the other movies, and that made me really upset. And I loved this. I loved it.
Because he really wants to do stuff. He the whole beginning of the movie is him trying to help Reed and stuff, and he's not being seen.
He wants new suits. Yeah, he wants new spacesuits because he wants to go up into space. I said Ben's plotline with Rachel is unfortunately forgettable. And then I literally wrote out justice for my boy. I just felt like there was more. Justice for cousin. Justice for cousin. Yeah, like we said before, just felt like there was more they cut out. I loved Sue's speech. I saw some people be like it was a little cheesy, and put cheese in my superhero movies. Superheroes are inherently a little goofy and dumb. Actually, it felt very WandaVision to me, which is what I wanted. So.
And it's also in addition, like we've already talked about, essentially Sue has already solved world peace, so she has to be really good at talking.
Yes.
So
yeah, I actually really liked it. I think it was a nice approach. And then before this, is it before? It's before. she has that argument with Reed, where she says, "You being you sometimes hurts me," and that's crazy. That, like, I was in the theater, I was like, oh. People saying they were mad at her for that because he's, like, clearly autistic, and I'm like, she's valid, though. It's sometimes people being themselves hurts other people, and it's valid to feel that way.
Yeah.
And she's valid for expressing that she feels that way.
Addition, the thing that she's annoyed about is because in her head, she thinks that he will make the decision.
Considered
Yes.
giving over. Yes, and I don't think she truly considered that, but I think she's under a lot of stress. And, like, her baby is public enemy number 1 right now.
Postpartum depression exists, everyone.
Yes.
Pregnancy's hard on the human body, even if you're the invisible woman. Like, it's gonna be tough on your emotions and everything.
Hard for Reed to try to make anything seem lighter or, like, better than it is. I don't think he really understands how to comfort her in this situation, which I don't think anybody would, because this is a very unique situation.
Exactly.
I liked that she went out there and showed them the baby is a baby. While activating all of the teleportation devices, the Silver Surfer begins to destroy them. Before she can destroy all of them, Johnny stops her from getting to the Times Square device by playing the transmissions from other planets and revealing that he knows her name, Shala Bal. We learn that she became Galactus's herald in exchange for sparing her planet. She does not help, remorseful of her actions and what is about to happen to the Earth. And the Fantastic Four come up reluctantly with a plan to use Franklin as bait to lure Galactus to the last standing teleportation device and teleport him away. Sue has Mole Man help evacuate the citizens of New York City to Subterranea, which is his underground city. Julia Gardner, Jesus, in this scene, and I don't like the flashback that they showed, but I think that all of her, like, best acting stuff came from this scene when she's talking with Johnny. Whoa, that made me, like, feel like, wow. And then I love the scene of Reed and Sue agreeing that Franklin needs to be used as bait. It was, like, full circle from their argument that they had, because you could see that, Reed was checking, like, silently if it was okay to even suggest it, But like, everybody coming together to, like, really try to make sure that he's as safe as possible. Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man. That was such genius casting. Oh my god, when I found out he was gonna be Mole Man, I was like, yes! Because he is, like, hilarious, like, had me laughing out loud during I, Tonya. So I was so happy. Now we just need Margot Robbie to be in the MCU, and we got the whole I, Tonya crew. So funny.
Yeah, it was a really good dynamic also, because, like, this is one of the scenes that I'm talking about where it's the whole group.
Yeah.
Like, obviously Sue knows what she's saying, she feels empathetic. Reed doesn't know how to read the room, and then Ben and Johnny are just bickering. Like,
yeah, explain it to us. I like that they showed us that Sue is, like, sort of the leader here in a public facing sense, and I like that a lot. Galactus comes to Earth, makes his way towards Franklin, who the Fantastic Four have sitting in, like, a car seat on top of the teleportation device. They do, like, a switcheroo and they plant an empty car seat. Also, I didn't say anything about him, but Herbie, oh, I love him so much. Seeing me singing the little lullaby that went viral, it is so cute.
Then also, since we're talking about Herbie, I love when Johnny pets him like a dog
and calls him Herbert. Why did they put him in the building? Why did they put Franklin in the building? I have a lot of issues with this plan, but whatever.
Yeah, I do too.
I feel like at least put Franklin in a different building. Or why can't they just do what they did in Infinity War with the gauntlet, where they're just passing the baby around?
That's true. And
So
that
that
would show
Galactus
teamwork.
is like always like there's not one place where the baby is. But Galactus evades the trap and captures Franklin. Also, Franklin crawling around on Galactus's hand was so funny to me.
Yes, it was.
It looked goofy, but it was so funny. The Fantastic Four do everything they can to stop him from getting away with the baby. Sue uses every ounce of her ability to push Galactus onto the teleportation device. At the last second, Shallow Ball comes in clutch and pushes Galactus and herself through the portal. Sue dies from the energy she used in the battle, but is revived by Franklin. A year later, they celebrate their 5th anniversary as a team. You know what I appreciated?
What?
That they didn't do what they did in the other movies with Sue. Sue straight up died from using her powers, and she still didn't look as like mentally drained and like as she did in the other movies where she wasn't even doing that much. Not like 11. Oh yeah, okay. Am I dumb for being like, oh, they may kill her here? Because I thought that in the other movie, but then I thought that in this movie too. In the second movie from the 2000s, in the reaction, I was like, are they gonna kill Sue? And I realized I might just be traumatized because they put the Fantastic Four through it in the comics. So I might have just been traumatized and been like, oh my god, they're gonna kill Sue. I knew that Vanessa Kirby was on set for Doomsday, but still, I was thinking like, but multiverse.
And flashbacks, maybe.
So it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just dumb.
Because of the editing. And also, like, it wasn't that, like, she died and then, like, came back. It was, like, she died, and then Reed is, like...
Oh my gosh, stop giving Pedro scenes where he has to try to bring his loved ones back to life. Jeez. I mean, that... I know that, like, I don't know what else they could have done, but, like, there were some details in there that you could have...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now onto the dreaded credit scenes. There's a mid-credit scene where Sue is reading to 4 or 5 years old. Lots of people are saying 4, but that doesn't make sense because isn't their 5th year anniversary?
And then it's 4
at
years
the
later.
end of that movie. So if we're going off of that, then he would be 5.
Yeah, and it's also, it says 4 years later, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
But she gets up to get another book, and when she comes back, Franklin's with Dr. Doom. I don't like it.
So again, I saw this like in a packed theater. I have not heard a whole theater groan in annoyance since Rise of Skywalker. And I know that we on this channel have said we're not going to talk about Star Wars, so I'm not going to go.
You only see remnants as I have BB-8 back.
Yeah, but like that, just the comparison of like everyone. I don't think I haven't seen anyone be excited for this credit scene, and I think the actual end credit scene with the cartoon so much better. I would rather have that over this any day.
It was so on the nose and in your face, and that is not what a credit scene is. Give me a tease, like the Latveria seat being empty. Anyway, this isn't about Endgame. This is about Fantastic Four. I'd love to know what everybody else thought about the movie. Please let us know. And let us know if you agree, or if you're really mad at us for our thoughts and you disagree. That's fine too. We liked it. We thought it was good. I'm just so happy that in my lifetime we got a good Fantastic Four movie. So subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
Also, we have links to all of our personal stuff as well as our like conjoined silver screener links. They're all in the description below, as well as our Discord. Go over to our Discord because you see us. We talk about like movie news and film festival news over there, and also if you need film recommendations or anything like that, all that is over there. We have a good time over there. So join us.
Yay!
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.